The News Watch never stops. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good evening, 63 degrees, 8:40 on your Saturday, October 11th. I'm Stephanie Officer. Here's what's happening. A nor'easter on the way. We'll tell you what to expect. Iconic actress Diane Keaton has died at age 79.
When this happens, a community has to heal the way they see fit.
And a neighborhood demands answers after the NYPD shoots and kills a man. An explosion at a Tennessee military plant leaves no survivors. Speakeasies making a comeback. Cubs and Brewers. The winner will face the Dodgers in the NLCS. 63 degrees, cloudy skies in Midtown with News Time 841. Let's get you where you need to go, Patty Benzina.
Well, here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three. Good news here. The LIE, Northern State, Southern State, they have all cleared out very nicely. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Still about 30 minutes both levels in at the George. The Cross Bronx westbound's backed up from the Jerome Avenue over to the bridge. The Lincoln and the Holland just about 15 in and 10 out. Still heavy traffic at the Brooklyn Bridge heading into Brooklyn, so take the Manhattan or the Williamsburg bridges around that. In Brooklyn, there's broken down on the BQE westbound just past Congress Street. That has the right lane blocked. Traffic is backed up to the Manhattan Bridge. And in Queens, you're going to find the Van Wyck northbound has construction delays from the Belt Parkway to Atlantic Avenue. And then in Manhattan, a crash on the FDR southbound is sitting at East 71st Street. Traffic is backed up now onto the Harlem River Drive. You may want to take the local avenues around that. If you're heading south on the Henry Hudson Parkway, there is a collision that just came in at West 135th Street. That has traffic backed all the way to 158th Street. Patty Bendina, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
When the rain hits my window, I take it. Me and Timberland, we sang a
We're bracing ourselves for a nor'easter, bringing with it heavy winds and rain. The rain will intensify tomorrow night. We're expecting as much as 2.5 inches through Monday evening. The National Weather Center predicting wind speeds could pick up to as far as 60 miles an hour. An update now with AccuWeather meteorologist Matt Benz.
Stephanie, this is a major storm, but the main impacts will be felt close to the water. If you are inland from the water, you will still deal with rain and some wind, but the most significant impacts will be in coastal areas where there can be significant coastal flooding thanks to onshore flow over several high tide cycles, and there could also be beach erosion as well as some wind damage as well, especially across eastern Long Island. Peak of the storm expected into tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, and the first part of Monday before it winds down as we head into Tuesday. Stephanie?
Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman with this advice.
If you don't have to go out, please stay home. Don't drive through flooded streets. Check on family members and your neighbors, especially senior citizens. Make sure that if you have senior citizens in your neighborhood, that they have what they need. We're all in this together.
Blakeman will activate the county's Emergency Operations Center at 8 tomorrow morning in the event of a power outage or down power lines. Just call PSEG, Long Island's 24-hour electric service number. Here in the city, Mayor Adams advises you to stay updated through Notify NYC.
Don't tell me what to do, and don't tell me what to say.
Legendary actress, director, producer Diane Keaton has reportedly died at 79. People magazine first reporting that news, saying she died in California surrounded by loved ones. Keaton's breakout came in the 70s, where she starred in several Woody Allen films. He called her his muse. In 1978, she won the Best Actress Oscar for playing Annie Hall in the film of the same name. She also snagged a Golden Globe for playing a playwright who falls in love with her daughter's boyfriend in Something's Gotta Give.
I sure as hell wasn't prepared to be rediscovered by Nancy Myers. Let's face it, getting to play a woman to love at 57 is like reaching for the stars with a stepladder.
Details of her death, including the cause, not immediately available. She's survived by her adoptive daughter, Dexter, and her son. Less than a month after a fire nearly destroyed a Brooklyn arts hub, Red Hook Open Studios is moving ahead as planned this weekend. The event lets New Yorkers explore dozens of art studios usually close to the public. You'll also be able to meet local artists, buy their work. This comes after that 5-alarm fire last month destroyed some of those studios, along with hundreds of pieces of art. Local artist Ethan Cornell tells us he was there when the fire started.
So I was actually in our studio space preparing for a show that was opening the next day. I was framing a couple of works, and I heard noises from upstairs. I was poking around, and I saw smoke come from upstairs, and I ran outside and called the fire department.
The event's second day kicks off tomorrow at 481 Van Brunt Street in Brooklyn. Family members and community leaders are demanding answers and change after a 28-year-old man was shot and killed by police last week.
Cries for justice echoed here where police shot Royston Backus. Joining that call is Assemblymember Monique Chandler-Waterman.
We want to hit 911 calls. We want to see all the body cameras.
She says she wants the NYPD to re-examine their policy on use of force.
There's always training that's needed, and I think that there's a lot that the police do deal with, even with mental health.
Royston's aunt, Afia Caesar Cornwall, says no amount of reform can replace the man they lost.
By tomorrow, maybe when he's buried, what do we have? We just have each other.
The family's grief now turns to hope for answers. Darius Ranzig, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM in Canarsie, Brooklyn.
Hand off Tish. Supporters of New York Attorney General Tish James rallied last night at the state's NAACP convention, chanting hands off Tish during a speech by State Comptroller Thomas DiNapoli. James had been scheduled to speak but canceled after being indicted by the Trump administration on bank fraud charges. DiNapoli called those charges baseless, politically motivated, citing James' prosecution of President Trump. James is accused of misrepresenting a Virginia property to secure a better mortgage, an allegation she denies, saying the president is trying to weaponize the justice system. Attorneys for Luigi Mangione making another attempt to get a possible death sentence thrown out.
Luigi Mangione's pleaded not guilty to federal charges stemming from the death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last year. He could face the death penalty if he's convicted of killing Thompson during another crime of violence, but his lawyers in a new filing say that charge that makes him eligible for the death penalty should be dismissed. They say that other crime, stalking, is not a violent crime and therefore does not meet the legal standard. Brian Clark, ABC News, New York.
His lawyers last month argued his federal charges should be dismissed over public comments made about the case by Attorney General Pam Bondi and President Trump. Mangione is due back in court December 5th. A mass shooting rocked a small western Mississippi town last night, killing 4 people, injuring nearly 24. The shooting happened in downtown Leland following a high school football homecoming game. Still unclear what led up to the violence. Investigators still looking for suspects. It's now being reported that 16 people lost their lives in a Tennessee military explosive plant yesterday morning.
At least 18 people are missing at Accurate Energetic Systems in Bucksnort. Humphreys County Sheriff Chris Davis.
We can assume that they are deceased at this time.
The FBI is pulling cell phone records to see who was in the building when it exploded. Debris was scattered across half a square mile. Authorities plan to detonate other explosives still at the site. Davis says the entire community is affected.
This could be people that, you grew up with.
Michael Wallace reporting nowhere yet on the cause. Winston News Time 8:49. Traffic and AccuWeather next on 1010 Wins. Speakeasies returning to NYC. We'll tell you about that, but first, Winston News Time 8:51. Let's check on traffic on transit on the ones. Patty Bendina.
Thanks, Stephanie. Well, here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. They're looking a little better. The George, just about 20 to 25 minutes inbound, 15 out. The Lincoln and the Holland tunnels are just 10 minutes in and out. And the East River crossings, the Brooklyn Bridge, that's still slow into Brooklyn, but the Manhattan and the Williamsburg bridges are looking good. Staten Island Expressway eastbound, that's still a little crowded right around West Shore Expressway. In the Bronx River Parkway southbound, that's slow from East Fordham as you make your way down to the Cross Bronx. And the Hutch southbound is still heavy from right around East Tremont as you make your way onto the Whitestone Bridge. But we're still having problems in Manhattan. A couple of accidents. One's a crash on the FDR southbound at East 71st Street. Traffic is backed up onto the Harlem River Drive. And then there's also a collision on the Henry Hudson Parkway southbound at West 135th Street. And that has traffic backed on to right around West 158th Street. Patty Bendina, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Now your official 1010 Wins AccuWeather forecast with meteorologist Matt Benz.
Cloudy and damp for tonight with areas of drizzle and even a couple of showers, low of 59. Then for tomorrow, here we go. Our storm arrives, bringing increasingly windy conditions through the day with periods of rain, high 62. Worst of the storm expected late tomorrow through tomorrow night and Monday. And thanks to onshore flow over the course of several high tide cycles, significant coastal flooding certainly a concern with this storm. There could be strong winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour across eastern Long Island. That could also lead to power outages and some periods of heavy rain, especially for tomorrow night. Our low tomorrow night down to 56, high on Monday of just 61. Storm winds down through the day on Tuesday, just a bit of leftover rain and drizzle early. Still breezy, though, with a high of 65. I'm Mackie with the meteorologist, Matt Benz, on New York's weather station, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
Terrorists are challenging Canada's last major wooden hockey stick factory.
Canada's last major wooden hockey stick factory survived globalization, but lately has had to grapple with tariffs imposed by President Donald Trump.
At the start, our customers were a little nervous because we make autograph sticks and 3-star sticks and a lot of souvenir sticks for NHL clubs.
General Manager of Rooston Hockey, Bo Crawford, says it took several months for his company to navigate the tariffs that had first hurt the bottom line.
Provided all correct documentation to U.S. Customs. It's all wood that's grown between even the U.S. and Canada. It's able to navigate and get across the border.
But U.S. tariffs have demanded diversification.
We've had to try to find other revenue streams to support the business.
Correspondent Stephen Kaufman. Police in Ohio this week in hot pursuit of a suspect. Not what you think. A giant inflatable pumpkin broke free from a home early Wednesday, rolled through the town of Parma Heights. Police ended up stuffing the thing into the back of the patrol car before taking it back to that home. The department also had some fun with it, writing on social media that Cinderella's carriage did in fact turn back into a pumpkin just after midnight in Parma Heights. Coming to museums around the country, human hair.
Century-old wreaths made from human hair fill the walls of Leala's Hair Museum in Independence, Missouri. Glass cases overflow with necklaces and watch bands made from the locks of the dead. There are also strands of hair purported to come from past presidents, Hollywood legend Marilyn Monroe, and even Jesus. But the museum's founder, Leala Cahoon, died last November at 92. Now the collection of more than 3,000 pieces is headed to museums around the country.
Correspondent Chuck Sievertson. Speakeasies making a pretty big comeback.
There's a hidden hideaway inside the Mandarin Oriental Hotel overlooking Central Park in New York City. Food and beverage manager Jules Langer.
You pass through all the restaurants and then you enter the bar through a black door.
It's aptly named The Bar, featuring cocktails inspired by some of Mandarin Oriental's destinations around the globe.
The most unique one would be probably Marrakesh with this harissa, that is a chili paste from Morocco.
Another relatively new NYC hotel speakeasy is inside Phuket's in Tribeca.
Correspondent Wendy Gillette. Wins news time 8:56. Now Bloomberg Money Watch.
For decades, when city slickers headed out to the suburbs,
get yourself ready for a trip through McDonald's land.
They saw the landscape dotted with fast food, especially Mickey D's. But this decade, something's been amiss.
The pandemic happened and people started to move more to exurbs.
Bloomberg restaurant industry reporter Christina Peterson.
People moved out to be around farmland, to be in more wide open spaces, to not have as much traffic.
That means a lot of people moving out of McDonald's reach. It's a migration that caught the chain flat-footed.
In this instance, they're playing a little bit of catch-up.
Catch-up. Clever. Mickey D's has launched a push to expand by 10,000 locations globally in 4 years with a specifically focused goal for the U.S.
To be within a 5-minute drive of as many people as possible.
And thus turning idyllic exurbs into McDonald land. Amanda Roday, Bloomberg Money Watch. 1010 wins at 92.3.
1010 wins.
My number one choice for news.
So much is happening in the world today. I keep it on all day long.
It moves so fast, you got to be up on it.
1010 wins.
At 92.3 FM.
WINS FM and HD1 New York.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Coastal flood warning in effect from tomorrow morning into Monday evening for the Jersey Shore and for all other coastal areas, including the city. From tomorrow afternoon into Monday evening, a high wind warning in effect along the Jersey Shore and eastern Suffolk County from midday tomorrow into Monday morning. More people get their news from 1010 Wins than from any other radio station in the nation. James Boyce, it's our service aide. Gary Souter at the editor's desk. I am Stephanie Officer.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM, New York.
Good evening. It's 63 degrees at 9 o'clock. I'm Bud Mishkin. Here's what's happening. A nor'easter is on its way. Coming in tomorrow and lasting through Monday. We'll have AccuWeather in a minute.
The winner is Diane Keaton.
Sadness for millions of us who loved Diane Keaton's movie work. She's died at 79. Luigi Mangioni's attorney filed a motion to dismiss murder charges. Palestinians start to return to what's left of their homes in Gaza with the first phase of the ceasefire. The federal shutdown continues. The firings have begun. Sports, all three local hockey teams are in action tonight. The Cubs and the Brewers are playing Game 5. The winner will move on to face the Dodgers in the National League Championship Series. Wins News Time, 9:01. Let's get you where you need to go with Patty Bendina.
Well, Bud, we're going to start out in Manhattan. There's a couple of problems. There's a crash to be aware of on the FDR southbound at East 71st Street. That has traffic backed up onto the Harlem River Drive. You may want to take some of the local avenues to get around that. And then there's also a collision on the Henry Hudson Parkway southbound. That's at West 135th Street. And traffic is backed to right around 158th Street. Then in the Bronx, there's a broken down on the Hutch southbound approaching Lafayette Avenue. That has the left lane knocked out, causing slow traffic. You're also going to find heavy traffic in Staten Island on the Staten Island Expressway eastbound, right around West Shore Expressway. And here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Just about 20 minutes in at the George, 15 out. The Lincoln Tunnel is looking great. That is cleared out nicely. The Holland Tunnel is just about 10 minutes in and out. And then taking a look at the East River crossings, the Brooklyn Bridge, it's getting a little bit better. It's slow from just about halfway through the bridge as you make your way into Brooklyn. No problems, though, with the Manhattan or the Williamsburg bridges. And here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three. Good news here, no problems. LIE, Northern State, or the Southern State. Patty Bendina, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
Our area is getting ready for a nor'easter that's expected to hit the region tomorrow and last into Monday. Let's get the latest now from AccuWeather's Matt Benz.
But our storm arrives for tomorrow with rain and increasingly windy conditions through the day. Now the peak of the storm expected later tomorrow, especially through the evening into tomorrow night and into the first part of Monday with the strongest winds and possibly the heaviest rainfall as well. The wind will be the biggest problem with this storm as we'll see persistent onshore flow over a long period of time, perhaps over several high tide cycles, which could result in significant coastal flooding. Of course, rain can be heavy at times as well. That could also contribute to flooding. Peak wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour across eastern Long Island. Storm winds down into Tuesday. Bud, back to you.
And keep it locked here at 1010 Winds through tomorrow and Monday for the latest on the storm. It is a very sad day and night for movie buffs. Diane Keaton has died. Family spokesperson says that Keaton died in California with loved ones. There are no details on the cause of death. She came to the fore for movie fans in the 70s, thanks to several roles, including the beleaguered wife of Michael Corleone in The Godfather and Godfather 2, and her appearance in several Woody Allen films. She would go on to star throughout the decades in films like Reds, Baby Boom, Father of the Bride, First Wives Club, and Something's Gotta Give. Perhaps her most iconic role, Annie Hall.
You play very well.
Oh, yeah? So do you. Oh, God, what a dumb thing to say, right? I mean, you say you play well, and then right away I have to say you play well. Oh, God, Annie.
She was so good on screen in that movie that she turned the phrase la-di-da into part of our common vocabulary at the time. And for that performance, Keaton won an Oscar in 1978.
Annie Hall was a wonderful experience for me, and I just would like to say thanks to Woody, and thank you. Thank you very much.
Diane Keaton was 79. Attorneys for murder suspect Luigi Mangione have filed a motion to dismiss murder and firearms charges against their client. The move came early this morning in Manhattan federal court. If it is successful, Mangione would not face the death penalty. His attorney also argues that prosecutors should not be able to use evidence collected from Mangione's backpack. He's accused of shooting and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson on a Midtown street last December. Who sent a mysterious white powder to the New York City Board of Elections facility Friday afternoon? Workers were counting mail-in ballots Friday afternoon at 450 West 33rd Street. They discovered an envelope of white powder that prompted a response from NYPD and hazmat workers. 6 people were exposed to the powder. All refused medical attention. Tens of thousands of Palestinians are beginning the long walk home in Gaza. The ceasefire is holding. Israeli military has partially withdrawn from this part of Gaza. This is phase 1 of the plan negotiated with Israel, Hamas, and the U.S. The U.S. envoy to the Middle East spoke Saturday night in Tel Aviv.
Steve Witkoff was clearly emotional as more than 100,000 Israelis applauded him and the expected release of the 20 living hostages.
Tonight, we celebrate something extraordinary.
a moment that many thought was impossible. Yet here we stand, living proof that when courage meets conviction, miracles can happen.
He also thanked President Trump. The hostages are expected to be freed early Monday, hours before President Trump lands in Israel and addresses the Knesset.
It's correspondent Linda Gradstein in Jerusalem. Meanwhile, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East is calling on Israel to allow unhindered access to aid. Gaza's government media office is also calling for an international probe into alleged Israeli war crimes during the war. The Ministry of Health in Gaza, run by Hamas, says the war killed nearly 68,000 people in Gaza. Much has been made of the failure of some leading Democrats to endorse Zohran Mamdani, such as Senator Chuck Schumer and Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. The Democratic National Committee chair, Ken Martin, announced his endorsement of Mamdani today. Meanwhile, his independent challenger, Andrew Cuomo, planned to announce for an expansion of the Excellence in Education program and was interrupted by several hecklers today.
These are his tactics to send hecklers and disruptors because he doesn't want New Yorkers to hear the truth because they're afraid of the truth. Tell Zohran I said hello.
Cuomo claiming that Mamdani was responsible for the hecklers. Meanwhile, the federal shutdown continues and the firing of federal workers has begun.
Unions for federal workers said they will take the matter to court after the budget office pulled the trigger on mass firings of more than 4,000 federal workers. With reporters on Friday, President Trump said there's a method to the reductions in force.
It'll be Democrat-oriented because we figure, they started this thing, so they should be Democrat-oriented. It'll be a lot.
The Treasury could lose over 1,400 employees, and Health and Human Services will lose over 1,100. Amid concerns about the low-income food aid program that supports over 6 million people, White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt says the government providing a $300 million infusion using tariff revenues to keep the program running. Jennifer King, Washington.
President Trump said today the Department of Defense should use all available funds to ensure that U.S. troops get paid despite the shutdown. The CDC, on the other hand, according to CNN, had another round of layoffs late Friday. Disease detectives, outbreak forecasters, policy and data officers were among those impacted. 63 degrees, going down to low of 59 overnight. Traffic and the full AccuWeather forecast coming up in about 3 minutes. The shutdown is also affecting the Smithsonian and the National Zoo in Washington. Smithsonian Institute announcing today that its museums will be closed starting tomorrow because of the lapse in government funding. A statement from the Smithsonian says this situation is temporary and its operating status will be updated when the shutdown situation is resolved. National Zoo posted a similar message. Community-based leaders calling for accountability and community healing in the wake of last Sunday's NYPD-involved shooting of Royston Backus Jr. in East Flatbush.
The family of Royston Backus are still in shock, disbelief, as tears filled their eyes here at this vigil, including his aunt, Afia Caesar Cornwall.
That was my puppy. You understand? That's my baby.
Standing beside the grieving family was Assemblymember Monique Chandler Waterman, who once taught Royston in high school.
Royston was very quiet. He's very empathetic. He's very sensitive. He was a leader.
She says she's doing all she can to get answers for the family.
We're asking for full body. We want to see all the body cameras. We want a full investigation.
In the meantime, people here at this vigil vow to keep Royston's memory alive. Darius Radzi's 1010 wins at 92.3 FM in Canarsie, Brooklyn.
How to talk to your kids about the death of a pet. That story's coming up, but first... Wins News Time, 9/11. Let's get you where you need to go. Patty Bendina.
Thanks, Bud. Well, in Manhattan, that earlier crash on the FDR southbound at East 71st Street, that is now out of the way. Traffic is still slow, though, back to the Harlem River Drive. There is also a wreck on the FDR northbound at East 20th Street that has you slow back towards Houston Street. And then on the Henry Hudson Parkway, there was also an earlier collision southbound at West 135th Street. That one is also out of the way, and that earlier backup is now clearing out. Over in Brooklyn, you're going to find find delays on the BQE eastbound from the Gowanus to the Brooklyn Bridge, westbound from Flushing Avenue over to Atlantic, and in Staten Island. Still, the Staten Island Expressway eastbound is crowded right around West Shore Expressway. And here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. The George is still just about 20 minutes inbound, 15 out. The Lincoln Tunnel is cleared out nicely. The Holland Tunnel's looking good. That's just about 10 minutes in and out. And the East River crossings. Brooklyn Bridge, that is looking a little bit better. You're backed up about halfway across the bridge as you make your way into Brooklyn, but no problems with the Manhattan or the Williamsburg bridges. Patty Bendina, 10-10 wins on 92.3 FM.
Let's get a check of the AccuWeather forecast. Here's meteorologist Matt Benz.
For tonight, turning out damp with areas of drizzle, even a couple of showers around, low of 59. Then for the rest of your forecast tomorrow, cloudy and increasingly windy with the approach of our storm. Periods of rain, high of 62. Worst of the storm expected from tomorrow evening into the start of the day Monday. That's where there can be significant coastal flooding due to strong onshore flow over several high tide cycles. Beach erosion and wind damage in some areas, especially across eastern Long Island, where wind gusts could approach 60 miles per hour. Low tomorrow night down to 56, high Monday just 61. Remaining breezy into Tuesday as the storm winds down. Leftover shower, drizzle early on with a high of 65. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Matt Benz on New York's weather station, 10-10 wins on 92.3 FM.
Coming up, new research into the increase in peanut allergies and how to fight it. One of 3 crew members who were on board a medical helicopter that crashed onto a Sacramento freeway during rush hour Monday night has died.
In a statement, Reach Air Medical Services says Susie Smith, a nurse who was on board the Reach helicopter that crashed on Monday night, has died from her injuries. Reach calls Smith a pillar of the EMS community and says she saved countless lives in the medical chopper. She had a 50-year career as a nurse and 21 years with Reach. Smith was trapped under the chopper on the freeway. Good Samaritans lifted the helicopter to help firefighters free her. 2 other crew members were critically injured in the crash. Alex Stone, EBC News.
Experts say there are ways to help your children find ways to deal